around Chicago, the well-known 20th century Chicago collections, and it's work that's provocative. It's about psychology, sexuality, identity. It's about using unusual and experimental means to get at subject matter.
The Harry Who was a particular aesthetic that grew up in Chicago in the mid-60s. The name, The Harry Who, was decided upon by recent graduates of the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, who began mounting unconventional displays of bright, bold, powerful work. The most important artists of the Harry Who were Barbara Rossi, Gladys Nilsson, Jim Nutt, Carl Wearsome, Ed Paschke, Philip Hansen, Ray Yoshida, Roger Brown, and Sue Ellen Roca. Their work was out of the box, generally figurative, and used radical approaches to form.
A lot of the artists believed in the popular culture, but not in the way that New York artists, at least the way I saw it. They didn't look at it as something which, Liechtenstein or but anyway, when they spoke about that show, it was always about you raise the low up to the high. So Liechtenstein had these theme, I guess it is. They had these, these little images that he'd cut out about, draperies and such, which would seem very familiar, except he saw them as, bringing them into some kind of formal, raised way. And I think in Chicago, people more believed that it was a language that was already being spoken, and that you could take that language and you could speak it. I mean, it already existed. But it was a real language. It wasn't just to be, looked down on. They were speaking about a kind of experience, and you could use that experience.
You react to what's there, you feel it, and after a while you can get more rational and realize that this is working better than this is, or this isn't. But yes, I think one does realize eventually that these are the relationships or characteristics that make it so wonderful, make me smile or give me excitement. I'm interested in permutations of one idea or possible form.
When I started out working, my figures were very simple, very blocky, very big and, cumbersome looking. They were showing vintage Popeye cartoons. I mean, from the 30s, way back. But that had a big impact on me. Well, they all, in those early cartoons, no matter what they were, everything moved. The air moved, everything moved. There was no static situation at all, so that Olive Oyl, when she'd be walking along, everything was stretching and moving and so on, and I became so fascinated by that, that really segued into my work. That was a pretty key moment.
I like the aspect of where they didn't glitz it up in a way, and I think I align myself in terms of thinking about that and thinking about that Chicago contrast of not wanting to put on airs of being the artist with the big kind of godlike figure.
I don't think I really thought that much about imagism. I was very happy doing what I was doing, and I feel like some of the labels will change eventually, and they will be, well, I think for so many of the people that I have grown up with, we've considered ourselves individuals. We're good friends, but we're not all doing the same thing. We have a lot of common things that we like. We like each other's work, but it doesn't mean that we're all doing the same thing.
I think the humor aspect, the fact is I loved comedies, and so it never occurred to me that a comedy wasn't serious, that it wasn't meaningful experience, that it wasn't expressive experience, that sort of thing. And so if there is humor in my work, it's not because I'm trying to necessarily put it there. I'm not trying to exclude it. It's something that interests me, and I think it just comes out in sort of a natural way rather than a conceptual way.
Speaking from a technical standpoint, a lot of what I'm doing today can be traced back to a point around 1964, I guess it was. First thing I began to do was I was in New York, I started doing a series of black and white collages with magazine clippings, newspaper things, and so forth, and pasting them down on an illustration board and then painting on top of those. Now these, again, were black and white pictures, media, visuals. And this is the only surviving example I have of that period. And this eventually led to the idea of starting paintings on canvas with a black and white understatement. Originally, there was the 5 people in the photograph, the reality of the people. Then there was the photograph of the people. Then there was a reproduction based on the photograph, based on the reality of the people. And then there's a translation. Again, strictly within black and white confines. I've editorialized to some degree, simplified areas, moved things around, maybe added a few things, whatever. And that's about all I will do to this painting on the black and white stage. And from this point on, it's much more of a free associational kind of a thing.